What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. Back again with yet another edition of my college football playoff and New Year's Six bowl game predictions. Again, guys, we got 2 weeks left to go. So there is after this, I believe there's 2 more editions of this. One coming out next week and then one coming out the week conference championship game. Probably will end up doing one right after the conference championship games as well. But we are so close to finding out who are going to be the top 4 teams that will battle it out for a national championship, and a lot of other really good games with the New Year's Six games there as well. There are some changes this week. Some new teams have entered the mix. Some old teams have dropped out, and I do have a change to my playoff field, which I will show you guys in a little bit. But again, thank you guys for clicking on the video. You're already supporting my channel in one huge way by watching the video, but there are other ways you can like, comment, subscribe, anything you can to help support the channel. Really does mean a lot to me. We're really close to 750 subscribers, so maybe if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into my college football playoff New Year's Six bowl game predictions. I'm not going to make this video as long, or I feel like I say this every video, but I'm going to try to not make this video as long as my videos have been in the past for this. Got a lot of stuff going on for me today. So, first off, with the Verbo Fiesta Bowl, I have it remaining the same right now. The Ohio State Buckeyes, who improved to 10-0 last week and really did improve this past week, like really showing people that, hey, what you saw in that game against Northwestern really is not the real us. Ohio State had to battle through the elements a little bit in that game as well, and Ohio State was able to come out on top in doing so. So, really good day for the Buckeyes this past week. And really looking forward to seeing how Ohio State handles these last 2 games here. Again, you got to go on the road to play Maryland. Not a pushover game by any stretch of a mile, but then you also have that game again on November 26th that everyone and their mother is looking forward to right now if you are a college football fan. So really looking forward to that one on November 26th. Ohio State keeps winning their games. Probably should end up winning that game this week against Maryland as well, although don't count out the Terrapins. And as I said, there's that game there as well. Ohio State's got probably the Heisman favorite right now, C.J. Stroud. That defense has improved massively from last year. They're playing some really good football right now. I got them back in my playoff field like my projections have been all season long. And then TCU has their second straight week as a team in my playoff field. They are sitting at 10-0. They just won a defensive game. I talked about this in my top 25 video. But TCU showing us that they can win different ways. Usually the way that TCU has won, at least prior to that Texas game, was they get down early, but their offense able to battle back. Their defense comes up with some really big stops late, and TCU goes out and wins that game. That's not how they won that game against Texas. They did it with defense first, offense second, which is something that we haven't seen from TCU. But that was a defensive game, and TCU was able to come out on top of a defensive showdown. Again, I keep making that a big deal because versatility is really important, especially when you get into the college football playoff mix. I believe that TCU has shown enough to maybe even if they were to somehow drop a game, depending on what else happens. I know it's going to be really hard. But again, depending on what else happens, if TCU ends up dropping a game but still winning the Big 12 Conference, who knows? They may still find their way into the college football playoff. But TCU, absolutely deserving of a spot right now. They are playing some really good ball, and they are going to be my 3 seed as Ohio State is my 2. Now, I did have a change. If you remember last week, I had Oregon at the number 4 spot, and obviously they lost last week. So that is their second loss, and they are out of playoff conversation, which means I got the Tennessee Volunteers back in the college football playoff, with Georgia being that number 1 seed. Look, there are 4 teams, I should say, in my opinion, that can vie for this 4th spot with a 5th outlier. The outlier is LSU, and they're going to need some stuff to happen for them to go right. But the 4 teams vying there are USC. Well, they're going to have to go win their conference, and they got 2 really tough games, and then a conference championship coming up here over the past 3 weeks. Of course, if they're able to get to the conference championship game. Clemson, who very well can still reach the college football playoff. They would have to go forth and win out, of course, win the ACC championship game, maybe get some help here and there as well. And then also, when you look forward, there are 2 teams. where I think the discussion's really going to be interesting, and that's the team I have here, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Michigan Wolverines, and I think that's just where the Wolverines' non-conference schedule is going to hurt them. Tennessee has a non-conference win over Pitt. So, and Pitt by no means had as great of a season as they did last year, but they're still having a really solid season, and that's going to be a team that you're going to see play in the postseason in a bowl game. So Tennessee's non-conference schedule definitely better than Michigan's, and that's why I got the Tennessee Volunteers in here. They're playing some really good ball. They're sitting at 5th in the poll. They're in a very nice position to get back to the College Football Playoff Bowl. And, you know, as much as I would like to put Clemson here, the committee, in my opinion, just has not shown a lot of respect to Clemson here in these past couple of weeks, with Alabama being above them and all. And I know the teams that Alabama's lost to, and I know that argument, and I see it. But I still think Clemson has a great shot to still get into the playoff. But as things trend right now, I do have Tennessee as that 4 spot. What more do you want me to say about Georgia? They're clearly playing the best football of anyone in the entire nation right now. And Georgia is the easy number 1 seed right now, especially if they keep winning and win out. And they just won a national title last year. This is the Dogs team that can go ahead and do it again. Moving on to the rest of the New Year's 6 bowl games. Hey, you got Alabama and Clemson playing, although it's not in a college football playoff or national championship game. No, I have Alabama and Clemson slated for the Orange Bowl. So with Tennessee going to the playoff, that leaves Alabama as the best SEC team, or I guess the second best SEC team left, because obviously LSU, with winning their division, probably would end up going to another New Year's 6 bowl game that you'll see here in a little bit. But Alabama playing some really good football. You see their only 2 losses are to LSU, a team that's going to the SEC championship game, and Tennessee, a team that I have in my projected college football playoff field. So just wasn't the year for Alabama to pull those wins out, especially on the road. They also struggled on the road for a little bit against Ole Miss this past week. But Bama's still got a really good team, playing some really good ball, and they're definitely going to be in a New Year's 6 bowl game. I'm projecting them to be in the Orange Bowl, along with the Clemson Tigers. Now, again, Clemson can still make the college football playoff, right? This is still a team that I believe can be, at the end of the day, one of the best 4 teams in the entire nation. But the way things stand right now and the way things are going to work themselves out, they may very well need Tennessee or Michigan to lose a second game here on the schedule. And again, that would be asking a lot from Michigan. They'd have to lose their next 2 to Illinois and Ohio State. Talk about the Wolverines here in a little bit. But for the Clemson Tigers, still very much alive to get into the college football playoff. Just the way I project things right now with DJ Uiagalelei and that superb defense, I think they're going to end up falling just short. I got him here in the Capital One Orange Bowl. All right, if we move on now to the Sugar Bowl, a little bit of some surprising teams here. Definitely not a matchup that we thought we would see in the preseason before the season kicked off, I should say. A rematch from a bowl game last year. Yeah, you got the Kansas State Wildcats and the LSU Tigers. Look, both these teams have made massive improvements in... My apologies. Both teams have made... Sorry, I thought I had heard something outside the room. That's why I paused. But Kansas State and LSU have both made massive improvements from where they were last year. First off, to start with the LSU Tigers, they're back in the SEC championship game. First time since that historic team in 2019. LSU has been really good this year. Jaden Daniels has been really good this year. That defense has been pretty solid this year as well. I mean, just look at the performance that defense had last week against Arkansas, especially one player, name is slipping my mind, something Perkins, I do believe. And then when you look at Kansas State, with getting Adrian Martinez, you finally have a solid quarterback to be in front of Deuce Vaughn. You have some really good wide receivers there as well. The defense is playing up to par for Kansas State. In fact, it's only gotten better as the season has gone along. And I know people looked at that Tulane loss early in the year and thought, Kansas State is going to be in some trouble. And then Kansas State was able to rebound after a slow start to the year. And more likely than not, Kansas State's going to find themselves in the Big 12 championship game. And with TCU making the playoff, that leaves Kansas State as the second best Big 12 team, and they're into the All-State Sugar Bowl. Of course, I just spoke on LSU's case to make the Sugar Bowl. 2 really improved teams from last year, and if everything continues to trend the way it is right now, these 2 teams likely will be rematching from last year's bowl game in the All-State Sugar Bowl. What an interesting storyline that would be, huh? Moving on now to the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. 2 new teams in my projections for the college, or my apologies, 2 new teams, my projections for the New Year's 6 bowl games. Now my Group of 5 champion stands in Orlando, Florida, and they're bouncing up and down right now because UCF, to a lot of people, is back, right? Maybe not to the level that they quite were at in 2016, 2017, all those teams under Scott Frost with Mackenzie Milton and all those other talented players. But UCF is looking like the best Group of 5 team right now. They got past their toughest 2 challenges on the schedule. They were able to beat Cincinnati. They were able to beat Tulane very well. Now will see themselves in a spot in the American Athletic Championship game. More likely than not, either rematching Tulane or Cincinnati. And again, those 2 teams play at the very tail end of the season. So that'll be a very interesting one to watch there as well. But UCF right now playing some of the best Group of 5 football. They're in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. And North Carolina, watch out for the Tar Heels down the line. This can be a dangerous team. And I really do think that North Carolina can be a team that can challenge Clemson in the ACC championship game. So watch out for the Heels. That is going to be a very, very interesting team and a very, very interesting game to watch when they happen to go play Clemson. But when all is said and done, I think Clemson will end up beating North Carolina, and North Carolina gets a spot here in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic the way things are trending right now. And I know what I said at the beginning of the video. This one's going to be longer than usual. I'm sorry. When I talk about college football, I just get rambly. I don't know. But Michigan going on the road to play USC in the Rose Bowl. And I say going on the road, meaning like they're going to California. Kind of USC's backyard, but again, played in. You guys know what I mean by that. A preview of a Big Ten matchup that we're going to see here in a couple of years once USC, UCLA join the Big Ten. Again, Michigan, I do think, can play Tennessee close and maybe even can beat them. But the thing about it is Michigan will have no common opponents with Tennessee once it's all said and done. And they definitely by far have one of, if not the weakest non-conference schedule out there, although they did play UConn, and UConn is now in a bowl game. So that definitely boosts their resume maybe a little bit, but again, doesn't boost it much at all. Not saying much since it is still the UConn Huskies. No discredit to what Jim Mora has done with that program this year. He's done a phenomenal job. But for the USC Trojans, hey, they can still get into the college football playoff. Yeah, they might need some help, and they definitely have to win out, and a lot of tricky games coming up for USC here. So as of right now, they are my Pac-12 frontrunner, but there is a lot that can still happen. Utah, Oregon, and to some extent UCLA are still alive for a Pac-12 championship, but right now I got the USC Trojans in that spot. So there are my predictions for all of the New Year's 6 bowl game and college football playoff games. Here is my updated college football playoff bracket. I'll let you guys look at this while I sign out. Thank you so much for watching this video. Again, you supported my channel huge in this way. If you want to support my channel, I'm all over the place, guys. Again, I have a lot going on today. You can like, comment, subscribe, really do anything you can to help interact with the channel. It does mean a lot to me. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys tomorrow with weekly predictions. Goodbye.